One of the greatest Bali Musar that are known in history is Rabbi Yisrael Salanter. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter was wont to say that a person's face is a Rosh Hashanah. A person's face is public territory because everyone gets to see it. And therefore one who frowns, who scowls, who looks bitter is what we call a pit, a Rosh Hashanah. A pit in public territory. That anyone who encounters this individual could trip into the pit, is going to fall. Because someone who's bitter, someone who's negative and gives off that type of energy, those surrounding him inevitably fallen as well. Maybe not to the same extreme, but in some way are adversely affected. So instead, as the Chazon Ish says, is that someone who walks around with panim ritziniim, with a serious face all day, consistently. He's such a person. If Bezdin would be around today, if the Jewish court would have its power, we would give him lashes. We would give him malchus. Because he's a mazik. That person damages and hurts other people by him not being besimcha outwardly, by smiling, by showing some happiness, by being out there and exuding that joy. But the question is obviously, how do we do that? It's easy to sometimes fake it, but to be consistent, that it should be real, how do we bring that out? And I think if you look into the Megillah, which we'll be reading next week, and we learn from Parshat Zachar, which will be this week, and we look at Amalek wants to just cool us off. He wants to make sure that we don't see any lessons, that we don't look in our lives and we see that it's all about Hashem. But if we look into our lives, and we see that every challenge that comes into us is from Hashem, is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we know that He loves us. So every act and every challenge that comes into us is one of love, is one of a connection. How could you not smile? We see the miracles that happen to us on a moment-to-moment basis. Our bodies, the environment, the world, the climate, our financial situation, our children. It's unbelievable. It's amazing if we just open up our eyes. How can we not be besimcha? There's a struggle, there's an obstacle, there's a fight, there's a disagreement. Realize who's setting us up for that opportunity. It's all God. It's all Hashem. We turn to Hashem, we said, beg us, give us patience with our spouse. Give us patience with our children, with our boss. And who's the next person, as soon as I finish this prayer, who walks in? My boss. The one who I just prayed and davened that I shouldn't maybe deal with properly. And I turned to Hashem. I just asked you how to deal with him properly. What are you sending me the same person who annoys me so much? Then the answer is, Hashem says, life's a training ground. This is a challenge you can appreciate. It's difficult, but I'm your coach. And I'm going to make sure that you make the best of it. And when we realize that and internalize that, we start smiling. Because that's besimcha. That's real happiness. That's the clarity. In Parshat Vayikra, in the first pasuk, it says Vayikra el Moshe, and he called to Moshe. Who called to Moshe? We know it's Hashem, but it's a very interesting, bizarre way of referring to it. It always says Vayidaber Hashem el Moshe. Hashem spoke to Moshe. What's Vayikra el Moshe? It's hidden. If you look at every 8th letter in that first pasuk, it spells out first a yud, then a hey, then a vav, and then another hey. Hashem's name. Because sometimes it's difficult to find, and it's hidden, and it's dark, like the times of the Megillah. But if you look closely, and especially the number 8, which is beyond Teva, the supernatural, you look into your lives, you'll find Hashem everywhere. And when you find Hashem everywhere, how could you stop from smiling all day? Have a wonderful Parshas Vayikra and a Shabbos Zachar.